open mic today. Sorry, Soda Awards. Okay, thanks Oni for the honor and glad my comedy training has worked on you.
Has it?
And finally getting my name right also. So yeah, for people who don't know me, my name is Srini. I'm 34 years old and I passed that phase called adulting in life. Okay. For those of you who don't know what adulting is, as per the Oxford Dictionary, it's that phase when you cross, when hashtag YOLO becomes hashtag DOLO. Yeah, you start noticing these changes in your, in your demeanor and all of those things. When you were kids, whenever you used to hit that cricket ball into someone's house, that uncle who used to scream at you, you become that uncle after adulting. But I think the most important change that I've seen is especially when I go out. Like earlier, if I used to leave a party by 9:30, I was called a boring person. Today, if I leave that party by 9:30, people stare at me with jealousy. Because I can get to go home and sleep. Believe me, I was at a bar, I think about a couple of weeks back, where most of the crowd was essentially people of my age. I left at 9 p.m. I shit you not, everyone stood up and gave me a standing ovation. Yeah, but I think there's also, now you understand why this whole event was scheduled between 5:30 and 10:30. So I know, first of all, I think I'd like to give a huge round of applause for the people who made it out of town today to being here. Huge round of applause, please. Yeah, it must have been tough coming from the airport to all this way. But let me just tell you, I've been in Bangalore for 25 years, and everybody, when you think about Bangalore, the first thing that everyone thinks oh, it's garden city, weather, and traffic and everything. And now the most recent name which has come up is that the old guy who asked us to work 70 hours a week is from this city. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit about things about Bangalore which I think you may not have heard of. So a couple of weeks back I had this writing block, okay? So I really didn't know what to perform at all. And suddenly the idea struck me. There's this quote, very famous quote by John F. Kennedy saying, "Ask not what your country can do for you and what you can do for your country." Well, my country gave me news. And my country gave me news and gave me content. Okay, so I've been in Bangalore for 25 years. And, overall, there's been a time when people started saying, Bangalore is not the same as before. It's kind of becoming, very congested and it's becoming slowly like other cities. And they say it's becoming like Mumbai, it's becoming like Gurgaon. Earlier, I used to be offended by this, but now I'm I can make peace with it. I kind of agree with them. See, both cities now, Mumbai and Bangalore, both have floods, right? And both cities have problems with bridges. Mumbai can't complete them, and Mumbai can't connect them, and Bangalore can't complete them. Housing rents in both cities are essentially 2 kidneys plus GST. But I think the fundamental difference is where we see here is that in Mumbai, whenever you want a house, your landlords just interview you and ask you the basic questions are you married, are you no non-veg and everything, all of those things, the questions they ask. But in Bangalore, this becomes different. It's a Shark Tank pitch. So I'll tell you a piece of news which I might have heard of. So an employee of Google, he wanted a house in Bangalore. The thing is, he mentioned that the talk with his landlord was tougher than his interview at Google itself. And I thought this is an exception. This cannot be possible. Then we see a situation where a guy got rejected for a house because his 12th standard marks were low. And then you think 2 instances may not be good. But then we see a guy raised Series A funding. Most Bangalore news ever. I was good for him, must have done it. Realized that later that he raised Series A funding for his deposit for the house. But then, I was also on the lookout for a house sometime back. And luckily my 12th standard marks were good. So the landlord decided to talk to me. And I went and I spoke to him and he asked me the usual questions are you married? Where are you working? Have you traveled abroad? Do you have a criminal record? At one point in time, I was wondering whether am I actually getting a house or am I applying for a passport? And eventually, so this guy, I answered all his questions satisfactorily, and then he decided to throw me a trick question. He asked me a fill in the blank question, saying, "Dash yahi banega." I thought long and hard. And I said, हाँ sir, metro यही बनेगा. So, long story short, I got the house. I just booked, I finished booking the house, and I booked a cab. And here's what I love about this city: we have apps for everything. You want groceries in 10 minutes? Done. You want printouts in 10 minutes? Done. You want cabs cancelling on you in 10 minutes? Done. You want potholes in 10 minutes? Not done. It gets done in 8 minutes. But then, where I really love it is the finance apps in this city. Like all these billion, apps which gives you discounts and cashbacks. It's insane. Even our cops these days are accepting bribes in digital. So a friend of mine, he got caught for drunken driving once. The cop stopped him and he negotiated hard for an hour and lowered the bribe to 1.5 lakhs. Okay. Eventually, he was so happy that he paid the whole thing via this digital app, and the cops, to their credit, gave him 15% off on the next bribe. And this guy, he was so happy that he had to pay only 1.5. He took the challan, went home, and declared it as part of his ATC investments. So, what I would really realize is that this city is very, very difficult. I mean, what I really realized was that Bangalore right now is the 6th most congested city in the world. Did you guys know that?
No.
As of 2023, there was the 6th most congested city in the world. In 2023, we discovered that it takes an average of 28 minutes to cover 10 kilometers in Bangalore. It was earlier 30. It takes 28 minutes. Then you realize that this report particularly also mentioned that one day in 2023 was the most congested, and it will have hard relate to some people here. It was September 27, 2023, where it took 32 minutes to cover 10 kilometers. Now, let me tell you why this day was so significant. The traffic was so much that if you took a picture of traffic and a video of traffic, both would be the same. It was so bad. A friend of mine joined a company on the morning. She was joining on that day. By the time she reached home, she was eligible for gratuity. My Uber app, this thing when the Uber app, when you stop for some time, it eventually like, hey, haven't moved. Are you guys okay? It showed me this. In 15 minutes later, it just said LOL. That's it. I was like, we are reaching a stage of adulting. I decided to spread fake news by saying that this is Chandrayaan's picture of Bangalore traffic and sent it to everyone. But I think, South African comedian Trevor Noah was in the city in the same time. His show got cancelled. Yeah, his show got cancelled. But everybody was panning Bangalore traffic, saying, "Oh, your infrastructure is crap, and this and that." He's famous comedian. It's not fit to host events anymore. But I had a different take on it. This was probably the most patriotic thing a city could have done for this country. Let me explain why. A long time ago, an Indian got kicked out of a train in South Africa. 130 years later, it was sweet revenge. So elegant, so beautiful, just looking like a wow. Thank you so much.